that's perfect time for
midway point in this episode in which we can thank the sponsor of today's Q&A 13. I think it's 13. Okay, Jackson Peterson.3. What do you do with your glove arm to create more velocity and gain command? So I always look at the way that I perceive pitching mechanics and the goals of pitching mechanics, they all complement each other. So 3 goals. Health, you gotta be healthy, you gotta stay healthy to obviously accomplish any goal that you have in this particular game. Health, velocity, and command. I think the delivery and the mechanisms you use throughout your delivery should always complement those 3 things. Obviously, you can have an entire conversation, and I've done multiple segments on, I would always look at movement optimization before intent, because I do believe with a lot of athletes, they can almost manipulate intent to gain velocity, but how sustainable is that when you haven't really worked down here, you're getting here. Anyways, so with that being said, the glove arm to create more velocity and command. For me, the glove arm can be a mechanism to establish a direction towards where you're going to be expressing your energy that you're creating throughout your drive phase. And it's a mechanism to create separation. I always look at separation, like hip-shoulder separation is just a byproduct of one's ability to authentically segment your 2 rotations. All right, so segmentation is the segmenting of the lower half rotating first, upper half staying neutral until the point in which you anchor down with the front foot, then you release that rotational energy. So how does that pertain to the glove arm? Glove arm can be a tool to influence your trunk's posture throughout your entire drive phase up until the point in which you anchor. I think depending on the individual and the individual's arm slot, which I did a whole chapter on this in my newest ebook, that you can pick up at therobbyrowshow.com/ebooks on how the arm slot impacts the glove side and the trunk. But to simplify everything that I just said, I would say that utilize the glove arm to influence the trunk's posture to remain neutral as long as you can. Resist rotation of the upper half. Do not resist rotation of the lower half, in my opinion, depending on how you load the drive leg. There's a lot going on in my brain right now. I apologize for that. But we were talking about this the other day, how I think I perceive him to do better in his throw with more late acceleration on the ball when he amplifies his glove side extension. And you can follow at CN Pitching. Cole does a really good job talking about glove side extension, how if you extend that glove side when you're going into your throw, that's going to buy you more time essentially. All right, so you're buying more time. A lot of guys, like I said this earlier in a Q&A, a lot of guys will separate trying to shorten their hand path, and equal opposite, the way that biomechanics works, the glove side wants to shorten too. So you have glove side flexion, this is extension. So a lot of times flexion, and then you have no time for that kind of elbow to flex, right? And then start to pull. So your body kind of only knows that that's a movement that then initiates another movement. So when this comes in, right, and you almost retract that glove side shoulder, that's going to signal to then the trunk to start going. So if you you kill that time essentially with glove side extension, then you can influence the trunk. I mean, what do you got on that? I mean, we've been talking a lot about the glove side lately and things that you're feeling. It's not so much like you're going boom, because like I said, it's a directional thing too. So I think if you amplify like that extension here, you can then throw off your alignment. You can throw off your direction.
Yeah, for me, it's not just straight like Garrett Cole or like just feel this. It's like one of the first things I ever learned while pitching was like point the elbow, don't point the glove, because it's like, and I think that was just speaking on the tendency just to be like whoosh.
Well, I think that is more so the sensation of like you create leverage outside, and then you want to kind of drift or fall or whatever.
Because this would be like I'm one bad move from like just flying way open. This was like, okay, I'm so close, but then I found the happy medium between keeping this for direction and then just letting this get out to like right when I feel kind of this, it's like this feeling I get, like right when I feel boom, that's when I know just to, all right, go.
Yeah. But you don't want, talking about the glove side, I think that another misunderstanding of the glove side is glove side tuck, pulling in. I would always encourage, like, don't think about pulling the glove side. Go get the glove side with your trunk, okay? That should always happen. So if you think pull, that's going to then probably initiate the trunk to go early. But if you think go get, now you're creating trunk flexion and acceleration towards your desired target. But I would always probably gravitate towards understanding your arm slot and how the glove side can influence. The person that asked this, Jackson, talked about like velo. I think a simple one would be to create more rotational energy, and the glove side can influence the creation of an excess amount of rotational energy if you have the ability to segment, but gives you a little counter rotation, which also buys you more time. So even if your trunk does start to early rotate, if you establish a little bit of counter rotation and it starts to early rotate, boom, you anchor down, you're still neutral, right? So you still create a good amount of rotational energy. So hopefully that made sense. I do want to actually, now that we're on that topic, hopefully this makes sense. I think the way that you load the drive leg is a huge influence on the glove side. So you mentioned Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole's very linear, right? So you look at him, he establishes like the glove side extension like towards home plate. You also look at the other component that influences direction, which is the drive leg. Guys that maintain a hip hinge or accomplish a hip hinge, take their knee like towards the target, they're probably not going to need a huge counter rotation. One, because that movement doesn't really work all too well, but two, they're already going to create a ton of rotational energy by the point in which they anchor down. Guys that are quad dominant loaders like myself, who kind of crack and go this way, that's another case, right? So like when I go to establish my glove side extension, it's not out towards home plate, it's out towards like where my chest is pointed, which is going to buy me time because I'm already kind of going this way. So by the time I anchor down, now I've created the amount of rotational energy that I believe is necessary to produce high power output. But guys that hip hinge go linear, I think Walker Buehler would maybe be another good example of that. They're getting a lot of forward acceleration, a lot of linear energy. So I know that's probably super overcomplicated, but
you should probably throw, right? Robert.
All right. Thanks for joining. We're going to throw. I didn't even realize it stopped raining.
Yeah.